Hey, it's Adam Grant from Work Life, a podcast from TED. This episode is brought to you by Freshworks. Freshworks believes that complexity is the enemy of efficiency. So stop wrestling with bloated, expensive service software that takes forever to implement an update, where ROI is someday, not today. You've been overcharged and underserved for way too long. Uncomplicate with Freshservice for IT and Freshdesk for customer support. And with Freshworks AI-assisted service software, you'll work smarter, not harder. Freshworks uncomplicates. Learn more at freshworks.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full-body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, July 28th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and try to help each other understand.
Today, the UK uncovers how to circumvent age verification, and The Verge discovers how to circumvent Samsung's antioxidant sensor.
It's a delicious way. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb Dunewood.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. So we talked last week about how the UK started enforcing new rules on Friday that require online platforms to verify your age if there's a chance someone younger than 18 could access harmful content. Now, this has had a few effects. One probably won't surprise you. Suddenly, Rob, last week, many people in the UK finally took seriously the need to protect their connections with a VPN. Isn't that great? Yeah. Good job. Proton VPN reported a 1,400% increase in UK signups on Friday. VPN apps topping the charts in the UK Apple App Store as well. The sudden increase in protecting personal security is heartening. The age verification in the UK involves submitting a government-sanctioned ID or just a selfie. So if your VPN isn't making you appear not to be in the UK and you want to access something that requires you to be older than 18, you got to provide one of those two. The selfie uses an algorithm to determine if you look the part. Do you look like you're older than 18? Now, you can't just take a picture of somebody older than you and hold it up in front of your face. You have to move. The idea is to prove you're actually there. So they might ask you to turn your head or open your mouth. That leads us to another effect that you might not have predicted. The game Death Stranding has an in-game photo mode. If you use that mode with the character Sam Bridges, who looks older than 18, you can get the 3D avatar to face the screen. You can then point your phone at the screen when you're in the verification system to verify by photo. And the photo mode from Death Stranding lets you move the camera around and change facial expressions. So if it asks you to move your head or open your mouth to prove you're there, you can make Bridges do that. The Verge was able to use the method to verify age both for Reddit, which uses the Persona system, and for Discord, which uses KID. However, they tried it on Blue Sky, which uses the Yoti service, and it didn't work. So not every system can be fooled by Death Stranding. An Ofcom spokesperson told the Register, age checks are not a silver bullet. Some determined teenagers may get around them. Ultimately, this needs to work alongside education, awareness campaigns, and through supportive conversations with trusted adults. That last, Rob, I thought it was a demonstration of self-awareness from a government agency that you don't see all the time, where they're like, yeah, we didn't expect this to catch everybody, but it's part of a plan.
So here's the thing. When you're talking about a regulation or a rule, a law like this, a lot of people think that's got to get 1,000% of the people.
Right.
They're never meant to do that. It's meant to be a significant deterrent that is going to ultimately get less, young teens using this. It's so I think of it like this. It's like, having to be 21 to go into a bar works pretty effectively. There are still teens who will get a fake ID. They're doing enormous amounts of work to try to get in. And they will get in. Same thing. Speed limits are 65 to 75. People drive faster than that, but they do tend to keep people driving roughly at a safe speed. And I think that's how you have to look at this. This is not encryption. It's going to keep everybody out 99.9999% of the time. The goal is for this to actually deter younger folks from trying to get into a system they probably shouldn't be into.
Yeah, make it a little more. It's a speed bump, so to speak. It is amusing that the Persona and KID systems can be fooled by Death Stranding. I imagine that shortly those services will be updated so that at least Death Stranding, if not other games, don't work for it. Interesting that the OT service already works that way. But the easier way to circumvent it is a VPN, right? Like it's not really practical to use the video game service.
VPNs work very well. I'm not recommending that teens that are not supposed to be doing this. We're not, but yes, they do work quite well as long as you are setting your location to be somewhere out of the places where you're not supposed to be and underage.
Now, we alluded at the beginning of the show to another piece of circumvention news, but this one only hurts yourself. The Verge's Victoria Song was able to fool Samsung's antioxidant sensor. The sensor uses blue, yellow, and infrared LED light to detect carotenoid levels in your skin. Same thing that makes a carrot orange, right? And that is an indication of your antioxidant levels, but it's not foolproof again. To measure it, you press your thumb on the sensor for 10 seconds and it looks through your skin to see if it sees those carotenoids and then estimates your antioxidant level. Well, Song found that the sensor not only wasn't giving her a good score, even though she eats a lot of vegetables, but wouldn't give blackberry. She smushed a blackberry against the sensor, gave that a low score. But when she pressed her thumb covered in orange magic marker or powder from Cheez-It crackers, both notoriously low in antioxidants, it gave her a high score. So she also said broccoli gave it a high score, so it's not just something orange, but apparently if it's orange enough, it can fool the sensor.
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that somebody was incredibly bored the day that they tried to do this. We're missing one though. I want to know, how does candy corn affect
Ooh,
it?
That's a good one. Yeah. Smush a little candy corn, especially that orange part, right up against there, and see it. Yeah, I think Victoria's Song was just mad when it gave her a low score. And she's like, I eat a lot of vegetables. I should have a lot of antioxidants. That this is wrong. Yeah. And so she wanted to find out why. I thought that was funny as well.
Go figure. If you scan stuff that was never meant to be scanned, you get weird results. I would have never guessed that.
No, totally.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener. Thanks to Dale McCahey, Matt Zaglin, Jeff Wilkes, and our brand new patron, Ross.
Hey, thank you, Ross.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today.
Ready to level up your everyday? Quince makes premium essentials without the premium price tag. From quality clothing and stylish accessories to travel staples and high-end home goods, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers high quality at half the cost of similar brands. Shop elevated essentials without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/levelup for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/levelup.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
There's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
Google has a system for detecting earthquakes that combines measurements from Android phones. It's got multiple levels. The highest one is Take Action. More than 70% of phones in Turkey use Android, but the system only sent 469 warnings for an earthquake in the country in 2023, where 10 million people were close enough to the epicenter to have received it. Google investigated the results and changed the algorithm to compensate. In a simulation of the earthquake, 10 million notifications were sent. The BBC asked Google how the system worked in the earthquake in Myanmar this past March 28th and has not yet received a response. So I'm not saying, Tom, I'm just kind of saying it's like I want to know about the recent one, not the simulation. How does this actually work? Because I'm guessing that in March 28th, if it worked well, Google would be touting this everywhere, and I don't see them doing that.
I don't think most people even know this exists, so I doubt most people rely on it for their earthquake safety, especially because earthquake warnings are not something that are widespread and usually very, very far in advance, right? So I look at this and I'm like, oh, okay, they did the right thing. And at the BBC's investigating impulse revealed that like, yeah, we didn't give enough warnings for that one. And that is unfortunate because maybe we could have prevented loss of life if we did, but we were able to tweak it and we think we fixed it. So yeah, whenever they get the willingness or the data, maybe they're just, cross-checking their numbers to let us know how it did this year. I'd be curious to know because I got a Pixel phone and, I'd like to know if that's something I need to pay close attention to living here in earthquake country in California.
Yeah, if it works, it'll probably get socialized and people will, hear about it, because when they say take action, they mean take action immediately. If you're in a building, you need to get to an interior wall, preferably away from glass, maybe under a sturdy conference table or something like that if you have it. If you're on the street and you can get away from the buildings, get away. If you can't, if you're like in a big city with skyscrapers, actually the best thing to do when you see that take action is to run into the building. Doesn't seem natural thing to do, but if they're big, tall buildings, they generally are built to withstand earthquakes. So you're safer in there than on the street where you'll be subject to falling glass and debris and stuff like that.
Yeah. And there are other levels that are lower, and some of those were sent as well. And there's a different accuracy levels on those as well. But of course, the one everyone focuses on is the take action one, right? The urgent one. DeepMind and OpenAI both took this year's International Math Olympiad test. DeepMind perfectly solved 5 of the 6 problems. That earned it a gold medal. Gold doesn't mean it was the only one to win. It just, you have to achieve a certain score and then you get a gold medal. OpenAI did not actually officially participate in the event, but would have earned a gold as well. However, 26 human students got higher scores than both of them. So, hey, good news, us humans still on top. However, the Wall Street Journal speculates this might be the last year that the human students outperform the models.
I don't think I would be willing to bet against the Wall Street Journal on this one. This probably is the last year. And we did talk a bit about this last week because OpenAI kind of let the news out before they were supposed to. So that's why they're officially not in it, because they kind of got kicked out. But yeah, it's probably not a winnable contest for humans after probably this year. If we get it next year, I'm thinking that'll be it. But I'm guessing the rate that these things are growing and how fast they are getting really, really good at doing this kind of stuff, this might be the last time that humans actually take the cake. Yeah,
my instinct is 1 to 3 humans maybe outperform them next year, if that. And then that would be the last year that these things don't beat us at the math. This is math. This is like, something you can tune a model specifically for.
Right. The European Commission said Monday that its preliminary findings shows Temu does not properly prevent unsafe counterfeit products from being sold to EU citizens on its platform. The EC says Temu uses an inaccurate risk assessment that relied on general industry information rather than specifics about its own marketplace. A separate investigation is also underway to determine if Temu uses problematic practices like fake discounts and reviews. Temu may now respond to the preliminary findings to argue whether they're incorrect or suggest actions to avoid a fine.
Yeah, this is the typical EC dance where they release the preliminary findings and give companies a fair chance to say, hey, there might be a mistake or you didn't take this into account. They usually end up sticking pretty close to those preliminary findings. And so what you more often see is a company saying, okay, in response to this, then we'll do this to remediate it, and that'll lower the punishment because they're willing to cooperate. But we're talking about baby toys, small electronics, these are things that kind of raise people's eyebrows. They're like, wait, hey, I don't want to be buying a baby toy that is a dangerous baby toy. I don't want to be buying an electronic product that's going to electrocute me. So this will hurt Temu's brand image no matter what in the EU for sure.
Yeah, and it is what had happened was clause in my estimation, because they are giving Temu the opportunity. We're going to let you respond to this, and maybe you can do some things so that fine won't be quite what it's going to be. But this is not great. You need to fix this, or we're going to fine the heck out of you. I think that's basically what Temu is up against at this point.
I always think it's worth pointing out in these situations too. It's not like someone at Temu is looking at every single product and going like, that one's dangerous, but let it in. It's that these platforms are so vast that people can post things to it, and no one at Temu ever knows it was posted. So you have to have systems to be going and checking for these things and vetting them automatically. And that is more difficult when you operate at that scale. And so what the EC is saying is you didn't do enough to combat that from sneaking through. They wouldn't have gotten punished if a couple of things sneaked through, but they were like, hey, we're doing everything we possibly can, right? It's the European Commission is saying you're not doing it enough.
I won't be shocked if in the not too distant future we hear a story from Temu about how they're using AI to do exactly these type of things, because this is one of the things that AI is kind of designed to do. It should be able to effectively find these unsafe products relatively easily on the system.
Samsung announced it will produce Tesla's A16 chip under a contract that will run through 2033. The A16 is the next generation chip for Tesla driving hardware. Samsung makes the current Tesla A14 chip. Samsung has reported underutilization of its foundry business. If that's true, then this is important for them.
PayPal will launch acceptance of more than 100 cryptocurrencies in the coming weeks. Merchants who use PayPal will be able to take Bitcoin, USDT, Ethereum, and more from more popular wallets like Coinbase, Phantom, and MetaMask. Merchants can receive the funds as either fiat currency or PayPal stablecoin. Fees for transactions will be 0.99%, much less than current fees for flat transactions. And merchants who accept PayPal stablecoin can earn 4% interest for those balances. So, Tom, this is one that I'm really looking at because 1% compared to 1.5% to 3% is significant when you're doing a lot of transactions. And where this also will come in, as a benefit for people who use PayPal, if you're doing any type of international, there's another 1 to 3% on top of that. So they're really cutting out the credit card companies on this. And I would imagine, PayPal is still one of the big dogs when it comes to these mobile wallet, mobile type of application ways to pay. A lot of people have PayPal accounts. I don't see this not being used effectively in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Two things to note here too. The Genius Act being signed into law in the United States, even though it's just for the United States, has an effect. This is one of those effects. PayPal was holding off expanding its cryptocurrency use until it knew the regulatory environment in its home market. So this is one of the first, not the last, that you'll see as a result of that. You're going to see some from more traditional banks. And then everyone often asks, not everyone, some people often ask, what's the deal with the stable coin? Why is it useful? If it's only tied to $1, how do you make money? Well, it's because you reduce those fees. So PayPal's still raking in 0.99%, but they're not having to share it with other folks because they're using a stable coin and they're using a blockchain, and that saves them money. They pass the savings on to you. Everybody wins.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking of like Block, who, has the Square terminals and stuff like that. And they've been undercutting credit card companies by charging 2% and no actual fee, like 2% plus 50 or whatever. This is just 1%. That is going to be ridiculously difficult to get under. And PayPal makes those type of terminals that merchants can use as well. So I think that, a lot of merchants say, man, I get killed by these fees that I've got to pay. And if I can do 1%, I'll do 1%.
An independent game store, itch.io, says it too has received pressure from payment processors to remove some adult titles from its catalog. An organization called Collective Shout claims responsibility for pressuring payment companies, but the companies have not said why they are pressuring the platforms, like itch.io and Steam. Meanwhile, the UK interactive entertainment games industry body has issued its own statement, trying to put some pressure out there, calling on payment providers and platforms to, quote, have confidence in trusted age rating systems and the enforcement mechanisms behind them.
The Apache Airflow company Astronomer published a video featuring the ex-wife of Coldplay's Chris Martin, Gwyneth Paltrow. Paltrow says Astronomer hired her on a temporary basis to answer questions, while the questions shown on screen seem to relate to the viral video of Astronomer's now ex-CEO and now ex-HR head being caught hugging each other at the Coldplay concert. Paltrow's answers are very straightforward explanations of Astronomer's data automation features. Now, Tom, I've watched this video. It is hilarious. And the folks have already gone and grabbed it, and they're now putting the video over top of the actual Coldplay concert video to give you the context of what's happening. So yeah, the questions that are being asked are hilarious, and the way that Gwyneth Paltrow just straight face answers something completely different is pretty funny.
Why, yes, there are spaces still available at our upcoming developers conference, for example. Eileen showed this to me pretty soon after it posted. I was like, is this real? And yeah, no, it's absolutely real. Kind of a stroke of genius on Astronomer's part there. Scientists at the University of Washington designed tools called RF diffusion and protein MPNN that can efficiently and cheaply design proteins that recognize the peptides on the surface of cells, specifically cancer cells and also some viruses. Those proteins can then be integrated into cells called chimeric antigen receptors, or CARs. Don't worry about that. What you need to know is that the CARs, once they have these model-designed proteins, can teach T cells to attack those specific targets and destroy the cancer cells. So this is personalized cancer treatment. We scan your cancer cells, we put them through the model, it designs a protein that you then give back to your body, which teaches your immune system to target your cancer cells. 8 of 11 trials successfully triggered a response. 2 of those actually were able to kill the targeted cells. The process, as I mentioned, could also be used for viruses like HIV.
This is pretty cool tech because it is targeting your specific type of cancer and where your specific type of cancer is in your body without destroying everything around it. And that's pretty impressive. What I thought of was one of the Star Trek movies where Dr. McCoy gave, they were on current day Earth, and he gave just a regular person, like a pill, it cured all kind of things for him. It's like, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting to Star Trek levels of health.
Because no side effects. Well, I mean, we don't know. We have to have clinical trials. Maybe there are side effects, but you won't have the anticipated side effects of killing a bunch of cells that aren't your cancer cells, right? So that's good.
Absolutely. The Financial Times sources say OpenAI is testing a shopping feature to let you buy things without leaving OpenAI's app. OpenAI would get a share of any revenue generated. Bleeping Computer also has sources showing OpenAI's web app is testing toggles related to shopping, checkout, and orders.
Oh no, they're coming for the shopping engines next. Amazon, you okay with this? You gonna be all right?
Amazon is probably not happy about this, but we knew that this was coming. It's a sign of the times where I start to get a little bit concerned. Is like, I do like searching for something and getting a bunch of different stores that I can go to, as compared to I search for something and here's the one result I get, and we just kind of get lulled into just buying that, and it may not be the best deal. It may not be the best item. So we need to be a little leery of just going with only getting one result back and click and buy.
Yeah. I imagine this could be used to circumvent plans to use AI to give you a special price that's more expensive than other people too, because it can pretend to not be you, Delta. Then your fare falls down a little bit. What do you want to hear us talk about on the show? One way to let us know is our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Marty is helping us understand.
Marty heard the reporting on WhatsApp replacing native code with a web app in the Windows version of its app, and wanted to combat some of the perceptions that this kind of thing isn't as good or might increase RAM usage. Marty writes, "The real issue lies in poorly designed applications, not the technology itself. For instance, Tauri, Tauri, is an alternative to Electron and WebView 2 that uses the operating system's built-in browser engine, resulting in minimal RAM usage. This makes it a viable option for developers who choose to prioritize RAM efficiency. If the new WhatsApp app has an ugly UI, as they put it in The Verge, it's due to the designers, not the technology. A recent example I can think of is when the Facebook Messenger app went from a Windows app to a web app, and the UI significantly got easier to use and nicer looking, in my opinion. It just depends on how it's implemented. Web tech is widely used in everyday applications like the Xbox interface, parts of Windows and Steam. These examples don't receive complaints because they're well implemented. You can create bad apps in any language or framework, and I think it's important to highlight that web tech contributes to a more open and diverse ecosystem across all platforms, rather than dismiss it based on poorly executed examples. Anyway, that's just my charged opinion, being somewhat biased on the subject. Keep up the great work. Marty, this is exactly the kind of thing we like to hear. You know, a little insight, a little bit of opinion. That's absolutely fine, especially if it comes from an informed viewplace like yourself.
I agree with Marty because he is right. You don't have to actually make an app worse just because you make it web. I think of the Facebook app. I also think of LinkedIn. LinkedIn's web app is as good as the actual mobile app. In some ways, it may even be better because it just seems to work even a little bit faster. So I think Marty is dead on with this one.
And it's a great point to be like, you don't notice when you're using a web app in a what would otherwise be a native app when it works well. And so nobody thinks of that. I think that's a huge point.
Bingo. What are you thinking about, folks? We want to know. So if you've got some ideas or insights into a story, share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Big thanks to Marty for contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business by becoming a patron. Do that at patreon.com/DTNS. Talk to you soon.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Hi, this is Francis from Fixable, a podcast from TED. These days, every finance leader is under pressure to save money. But you can't beat the competition just by cutting costs. To win, you need to spend smarter and move faster. You need Brex. Brex is the modern finance platform that breaks the trade-off between control and speed with intelligent corporate cards, high-yield banking, and AI-powered expense management. Join the 30,000 companies that spend smarter and move faster with Brex. Learn more at brex.com/grow.
Hey, it's Mark Marin from WTF here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.